Hey, what's up everyone, Saint here. Recently I've been finding myself spending a lot of time in Fallout games. So in today's video, I thought we should talk about some of the vaults in Fallout. More specifically, we're taking a look at some of the worst ones to live in. So a little background on the vaults. Before the Great War and Nuclear Apocalypse, a company called Vault-Tec, they built all these vaults, nuclear survival shelters underneath the ground all across America. And you know, naturally people were like, hell yeah, sign me up, because tensions were high at that time, so they didn't want to get left out when the Great War happened. And when people sought refuge when the war started, Vault-Tec, you know, they accepted them in. They said, yeah, this is our safe place. And while the people inside did escape nuclear annihilation, they were often subjected to cruel experiments that were conducted by Vault-Tec. So with a little bit of the background out of the way, let's start with our first vault of the video. So starting off with our first vault, Vault 11, is one of the 5 vaults you can find while exploring the Mojave Wasteland in Fallout New Vegas. Vault 11 was instructed to conduct a social experiment on the inhabitants of the vault. When they first entered the vault, a Vault-Tec computer informed the residents that every year they had to make a sacrifice. Not knowing what would happen if they refused, they decided to go ahead with it. The residents of Vault 11 decided to use a democratic process for selecting the sacrifice, and every year they held elections. The selected individual would then take the role as the vault's overseer, and at the time their term would end, they would turn themselves in and submit to their own execution. This tradition had went on for about 16 years in Vault 11, and during this time many different political parties formed. Eventually the last overseer of Vault 11 enacted an order called Overseer Order 745. This order would bring about the end of Vault 11, as it was used to dissolve the election system and use the Vault's computer system to randomly select a new overseer. This new idea was not received well among the various political parties, but one party was outraged more than all the others. The Justice Bloc did not take too kindly to the new order that was just enacted. They had planned an armed coup to take back control of the Vault. This resulted in a bloody conflict which wiped out nearly the entire population of the vault, leaving only 5 residents left alive. The remaining survivors decided to confront the vault's computer systems and refused to continue the sacrifices. And to the horror of the survivors, the computer delivered an automated message that congratulated them on refusing to sacrifice another human being. So in the end, if the inhabitants of Vault 11 refused in the first place, they could have avoided all the bloodshed and destruction of their home. Moving on to our second vault, this one can also be found while exploring the Mojave Desert. Vault 22. This vault is different from the rest. This vault wasn't actually intended to be used by the civilian population, but rather by a large team of scientists, conducting agriculture experiments to solve world hunger. Even after the Great War and total nuclear annihilation, Vault 22 continued to conduct its experiments, using donations provided by pre-war contractors. But one of these donations would eventually lead to the downfall of Vault 22, when a fungus, originally designed to be used for pest control, was unleashed in the vault and quickly became more of a deadly biological weapon to the vault-dwelling scientists. When exposed to the fungal spores, the fungus would infect its host, slowly and painfully killing them. Eventually, when the host would succumb to the infection, the fungus would spread through their body, reanimating it and eventually taking control, turning them into a spore carrier whose sole purpose is infecting more hosts. By the time the scientists realized what they were truly up against, the vault's fate was sealed, as the fungal infection spread like wildfire, prompting the remaining 118 survivors to flee into the wasteland, searching for a new home. Our next vault is Vault 75. You can find this one by exploring the Commonwealth in Fallout 4. The vault was constructed underneath the Malden Middle School and subsidized admittance to the local community's families. On the surface, this seemed like a great idea. Local residents liked the idea of a vault being nearby, as it was a safe haven in the event of any disasters. But in reality, Vault-Tec had different plans for the population. When the Great War began, many of the families rushed to the vault and were admitted very quickly. Upon entering, children were separated from their parents, and all the adults were rounded up and mercilessly executed by Vault security forces. And now, with all the adults out of the way, it was time for the staff to start conducting their experiments and putting their plans into motion. The purpose of Vault 75 was to use selective breeding and genetic engineering to breed better humans. The staff of Vault 75 instilled fear into the children by telling them horror stories of the wasteland above, and how they needed to be trained to be strong enough to survive the harsh and cruel wastelands. The children were schooled and trained until the age of 18, and their graduation day would be the day that seals their fate. The ones who were gifted physically and intellectually had their organs harvested, for the others who were not as gifted, but still obedient and loyal to the Vault, were recruited by the Vault, becoming members of the staff, science team, and security forces. And for the rest of the children who were unlucky enough to meet the high standards of Vault 75, they were quickly rounded up and disposed of, being incinerated, meeting a cruel and inhumane end at the hands of Vault 75. Well guys, those are some of the vaults that I think are pretty messed up, and I wouldn't want to live in them. But yeah, funny story. This video is supposed to last a little bit longer. It's supposed to be a longer video, and I recorded this about like 3 times. Kept going over it. Has script and everything. And yeah, about every time it would get corrupted. 3 times I did it, and it just kept happening. I would go through the full video, so I just had to shorten it down. If I went too long, it would just corrupt and get all messed up. So it's supposed to be a longer video, but it's not. So you know, it's whatever. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, I put this together because I've been on my Fallout shit. So yeah, you know, I hope you guys enjoy. Once I get my editor fixed, have longer videos up, I promise. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.